Hello, my friend. I just wanted to take a moment and just sit with you today. I hope you're having a lovely day, and if not, I certainly hope it gets better. Has anything exciting or nice happened to you recently? Maybe you got some wonderful news, or ate something really tasty, or just saw a pretty sunset. Springtime is upon us now, at least in this corner of the world. I quite like spring, though to be honest, I would say that about every season, if asked. They all have their charms. They all certainly have their drawbacks too, but that's life. Always a little give and take. Some years the seasons take more than they give, but some years its blessings are bountiful. All we can do is be ready to receive the days as they come, be it by over planning or just going with the flow. Whatever feels best for you. There is no wrong way to do it. Sometimes I plan things down to the letter, and sometimes I just go with the flow. No plans, just whatever feels right in the moment. Neither one of those is wrong or invalid. One of the joys of life is that it's yours, and in those moments that belong only to you, no one else gets to decide how you spend them. I hope you find yourself overflowing with moments made for you this year, even if they're fleeting. Shall I tell you of some of my favorite things about springtime? I could do that. I would love to hear if there are any joys the season brings for you, if you would be comfortable enough to share them with me. But if not, that's okay. Some joys are just for you. Perhaps going through the catalog in your mind is just too tiring right now. That's okay too. If you would like to sit here with me for a moment, I would certainly love the company. Don't worry if you feel a little tired, if your mind drifts away and your eyes close. If you'd like to rest or fall asleep, I won't mind. You can always relax here with me. It honors me that you would do so, really. So it's alright. Don't worry. Just relax for a moment and I will tell you some of the joys I've met with this lovely spring. So far, anyway. We're still very early into the season, which makes me feel all the more fortunate being off to such a wonderful start. Now, let's see. Yes, I have to tell you about the butterflies I've seen. At the time I'm recording this, I think I have seen maybe 5 butterflies, but I hope to see even more. I think they are quite beautiful, and I love the way they flutter about. 2 of them were orange, but the others seemed a bit more yellow. Such pretty little things. I'll pretend to be an expert on butterflies, but they're definitely a wellspring of joy. I think almost everyone would say they're mascots of spring, signs of change and rebirth, which is quite fitting going into a blooming spring, especially from such a long winter. I always find them to be quite comforting. They always seem to flutter by at the exact moment that I need them to. For me, they're messages of fortune. More specifically, I feel like when I see butterflies, I know I'm on the right path. I look for them when I feel conflicted. While they never exactly whisper the answers to me, they give me a sense of acceptance of change. Or maybe it's that they remind me that change is okay, and it's alright to make the daring choice. It's okay to change. Life is transformative, but much like the seasons themselves, change can be hard. But when you embrace it like the butterfly, you may just emerge from the other side exactly who you were always meant to be. I hope you get to see some butterflies too. I'll wish for it on a dandelion. I'll wish the butterflies your way. So next time you see one, consider it a gift. Maybe you'll even tell me about it. Maybe it will have a message for you too. And speaking of wishes, I hope the dandelions bloom early this year. I am very fond of them. Have you ever wished on a dandelion? Dandelions grow soft, buttery yellow flowers with big leaves. They call them lions because their leaves look like lions' teeth. At least that's what I've heard. And lots of people will tell you that dandelions are a weed. But I'll tell you a secret. Dandelions are one of the greatest gifts and certainly a great joy. They bloom a little later than early spring, but nearly everyone can recognize a dandelion. It's only recently that we started weeding them, but even still they keep coming back, as resilient as ever. Dandelions are actually good for us and for nature. In fact, people used to weed out the grass just so more dandelions could grow. All over the world, people have fallen for them. I am quite fond of them myself, honestly. When I was a kid, we did a lot with dandelions. And it makes me happy to see them pop up. Especially after people have tried so hard to get rid of them. As resilient as spring itself, you can always count on their return. And when it is time for them to say goodbye, seeds grow from their stems into the white puffballs, ready to take flight in the wind. The wind will carry them away to grow new dandelions and as they float across the sky, they have no intention other than to drift far and wide. However, if you happen to find one just before it's ready, very gently you can pluck it up by the stem. And be very careful not to let the seeds fly away just yet. Bring them very close and whisper your wish. Wish it with all of your heart. And then take a deep breath and blow. You want to try and blow them all away in one breath, but don't worry if that's too hard. The seeds will scatter and float away, carrying your wish with them. Each one of those seeds will carry your wish as far and wide as it can. And when they finally gently rest upon the ground, they'll take root with your wish and bloom with its magic. And we've already established that dandelions are a sure spring itself. Much like the butterfly, they are always in a cycle of transformation, so they never truly die, and neither will your wish. Maybe it's those wishes that give them the strength to always keep growing. Flowers are a particular favorite joy of mine. I know I've gushed about the dandelions, but all flowers are sources of joy this time of year. I read a quote once, somewhere a long time ago, so long that I couldn't tell you where or who said it, but it's a thought that I've always carried with me. If every flower wanted to be a rose, spring would lose its loveliness. I think about that a lot. Roses are so cherished for their representation of love, passion. They are perhaps the most well-known flower in the world. But if all flowers were roses, they would be beautiful, sure. But the loveliness of flowers comes from their variety of sizes, of colors. When the wildflowers grow in the spring and I look out on the rolling hills and the lively fields, my thoughts aren't, "Oh, how I wish for roses." My thoughts are only those of color, and of vibrance and life. It's easy for the flowers to bloom as they are. Perhaps we can learn to do the same. I love to bring flowers into my home. I usually keep some on my table so I can see them every day and have a little bit of color to keep inside with me, even on the dreariest days. Their presence is fleeting, though, but I'm glad to have them all the same. When it's time to replace them, I don't really like to toss them out. So I made a rack in a dark spot and hang them upside down until they've completely dried out. Once they're dried, they'll be able to stay around forever. I like to hang them around my home, put them in bottles or jars that I've saved. I also like to press flowers. I have this really big old dictionary I once found in a thrift shop, and it's perfect for pressing flowers. Once you've secured them between the pages, you close it up and stack lots and lots of books on top of it. Let it stay like that for a while, and before you know it, you have a collection of pretty pressed flowers. I have quite a few by now. I keep them in glass jars on my bookshelves. Thank you for staying with me for so long. I may have gotten off track a few times, but it's been nice to have this chat with you. I'm sure I could keep rambling on about my thoughts for the season, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope this spring brings you many joys, and I hope that the year is kind. It's okay if you need to take it one day at a time, or one sunset to the next, one flower field to the next. Whatever it is that keeps you moving, whatever joys you're living to see. I hope that this year you have so many that you lose count. For me, this winter has been long, and I know I'm glad to see the sun again. I'm glad I made it through that frost. Because if I hadn't, well, I guess I wouldn't have seen those butterflies. I'm happy it's spring, and I'm happy to know that as far apart as we might be, we get to share the season together.